She sat on the bench, staring at the water. Darkness pressed in thick, suffocating fog. No stars, no moon, nothing but the sound of water. Her thoughts churned. Survival or conscience? She couldn't reconcile both. Others would come looking for answers, for revenge, for blood. The weight of it pressed down not just survival guilt, but people should know the truth. The stagnant air presses against her lungs. Jamison sits on the bench, her face illuminated only by the rhythmic, cold flicker of her phone screen. She drags on the cigarette, deciding to upload the feed tonight. Planning her escape over in her head, step by step, like a spy film. Who to call and where to go. 3 different places, every month. The ember flaring, then exhales. A thin plume of smoke curls into the stillness, caught in the dead air, refusing to dissipate. Her eyes remain fixed on the dark interface of the podcast she is not listening to, the wooden slats of the bench groaning in the silence. The lake behind her is perfectly still. The darkness rushes back in. She stands, her body a sharp, rigid silhouette against the nothingness, and turns toward the park. The silence here is not empty. It is heavy, waiting for something. Jamison moves through the park. The trees are skeletal, their branches twisted into jagged silhouettes that scrape against the dim sky. She does not look back. Her jaw is set, eyes scanning the path ahead, defying the oppressive silence of the dead space. Then, the air changes. A low-frequency hum begins to vibrate through the soles of her boots, a deep, rhythmic thrumming that makes the marrow in her bones ache. She stops, tilting her head, listening to the ground. The hum grows into a guttural roar that swallows the wind. From the pitch-black horizon, the first shape emerges. It is a truck, massive and devoid of lights, rolling forward with the predatory grace of a shark. It has no markings, no plates. Another follows, then a third, their heavy tires crushing the gravel path without a sound. Jamison drops to a crouch, pressing her back against the concrete wall. She holds her breath, watching as the convoy grinds to a halt. The darkness is no longer empty. It is active, industrial, and dangerous. She pulls her camera from her bag, her fingers finding the focus ring as she realizes the scale of what is unfolding in the shadows. It makes sense why authorities locked the whole city down, plus killing communications. What are you boys up to? The soldiers spill from the trucks in a synchronized flow. They move with an unnatural, rigid precision, like robots or NPCs, their bodies operating like parts of a single hive-minded machine. There is no chatter, no wasted motion. The heavy flatbed trailers slam down onto the ground with a jarring, metallic crash that vibrates through the park. Jamison pulls her lens tight. Her heart hammers against her ribs, but she forces her hands to lock. She tracks the soldiers as they cluster around the massive steel crates. Each crate is immense, showing no seams or hinges, and requires 6 men to maneuver. They strain under the immense weight, their muscles bunching, yet they maintain their silent, rhythmic pace toward the gaping mouth of an underground access road. The abyss swallows the light from the trucks, pulling the industrial operation into the earth. Jamison zooms in on the texture of the steel, the way the surface seems to absorb the surroundings. She is breathing in shallow, jagged gasps, her fingers trembling against the record button. The screen flashes 3:01 a.m. She knows this is not a routine delivery. It is a secret being buried in the dark, and she is the only witness to the scale of the conspiracy. The operation continued in a rhythmic cycle of heavy lifting and steel grinding. Jamison adjusted her focus, her eyes darting between the soldiers and the dark mouth of the access road. Then, a man emerged from the shadows, pushing a cart overflowing with discarded plastic and aluminum, as if he was entirely disconnected from the scene. His gaze fixed on the ground in front of him. The soldier approaches him, hesitant at first. The soldiers shifted their stance, weapons leveling toward his position. Jamison knows this can't be good for the homeless man. Activate snitch program, report area status, now. Jamison watched from afar, watching the act unfold in front of her eyes. Her heart pounding, hands trembling. The man opened his mouth to speak, but no sound escaped. Gun pointed on him. The soldier rambles off a sequence of codes to the homeless man. Then he lowered his rifle. The humanoid cooperated. He moved closer to the soldiers, his presence jarring. The homeless man's eyes flicker. A screen flips down, resembling glasses. The LED screen shows an area map of the city, zeroing on their location. Okay, power down, back to default mode. The soldier rambles off more codes as the screen disappears and the homeless man goes back to being a front, a plant on the street for the powers to be. Jamison shocked and confused, disbelief of what she just recorded. Her whole body pulsating, heart pounding out of her chest. Everything, her whole world shattered. She steps back, landing on a can, the sound echoing throughout the park. Jamison quickly crouches down, her back slamming into a concrete planter as she scrambled to get out of the light's path. The soldiers all turned around, their attention now on the park. The heat is on. Jamison knows she's finished if they find her with footage of their encounter. They look around. She sighs with relief. The soldier pays the sound no attention, her lungs burning as she fought to keep her breathing shallow. Every intake of air felt like a scream. She clutched the phone to her chest, realizing that the silence had returned, but it was no longer empty. Everything she believed in, all the conspiracies she had thought were just myths, all beliefs shattered in a moment of minutes. Her world was a show. Everything was theater. She continued to make her way to her vehicle. She was no longer just watching. If caught, she was the next target. She was shaking so violently that her teeth clicked together. The heavy silence of the waterfront returned, heavier than before. Jamison pressed her face into the cold, maneuvering throughout the park. She could hear the rhythmic, crunching footsteps of the soldiers nearby. He was walking a slow, deliberate grid. She looked up just enough to see the beam of his tactical light cutting through the shadows, sweeping left. I guess they're searching the area for someone or something. Jamison heart races. She quickly takes cover, her knuckles white as she gripped her phone. The soldier stopped. She heard the soft click. Tuneless whistle drifted through the air, cold, casual, and utterly indifferent to the body lying in the dirt. He stood there for a heartbeat, his head turning toward the planter. Jamison felt a jolt. She held her breath until her ribs ached, her heart hammering against the planter wall like a trapped bird. He tilted his head as if listening for a heartbeat. Another step brought his boots into her line of sight. He paused again, his gaze lingering on the shadows where she cowered. She could see the texture of his boots, the mud on the tread, and the absolute stillness of his posture. He was waiting for a sound, a movement, anything to break the silence. Then a voice over the radio draws him away. Jamison unbelievably thrilled. Seizing the opportunity, she sprints off through the park, her boots silent on the damp grass. She sprinted, legs pumping, lungs burning. Her bag whipped against her hip, a heavy, rhythmic thud that echoed in her ears. She pulled the phone from her grip, her thumbs dancing across the glass with frantic precision. She hit the VPN toggle. The screen flashed a bright, sharp blue against the dark. VPN, active. She tapped the upload icon and the progress bar appeared. Uploading. 4 minutes. The numbers glared at her like a countdown to survival. She reached her car, the metal door handle biting into her palm as she yanked it open. She dove into the driver's seat. She jammed the key into the ignition, her hands shaking so violently the metal clattered against the steering column. The engine roared to life, a sudden, piercing sound. She smashed the gear shift into position, the tires spitting gravel as she tears away from the curb. Jamison reached for the gear shift, but the path forward vanished. A figure materialized, standing motionless in the center of the lane. He was a wall of black, his weapon leveled at the center of her windshield. She didn't think. She reacted. She slammed her foot onto the brake, the car skidding on the loose gravel. Coming to a jagged halt 30 yards from him, the soldier did not hesitate. He fired. A blinding, jagged muzzle flash tore through the blackness, painting the surrounding trees. The first round punched a jagged star into the safety glass. The second blast shattered the pane entirely, sending a spray of crystalline shrapnel across the dashboard and into her lap. Jamison screamed, a sharp, ragged sound that tore through the cabin. She dove toward the center console, her hands scrambling for the gear stick. She yanked it into reverse, her boot flooring the accelerator. The engine groaned, the tires biting into the dirt. Glass shards pelted her face, stinging like hot needles. She kept her eyes locked on the road behind her, the steering wheel vibrating under her white-knuckled grip as she fought to keep the vehicle straight. Whipping the steering wheel, the vehicle reversed. Then she slammed the gear into drive. Gas pedaled to the floor. The world outside the broken window was a blur of shadows and muzzle flashes. She didn't let off the gas. The soldier continued firing as the car disappears. Jamison speeding around the concrete barrier and back onto the main road. The park entrance vanished in her rearview mirror. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic rhythm matching the thumping of the suspension over the uneven asphalt. Her mind races. She knows she has to get rid of her vehicle as soon as possible. Find somewhere to hide. He got her plate numbers? She knows it. Jamison glanced at the phone mounted to her vent. The upload bar crawled forward, agonizingly slow. The city became fake, nothing but a strobe light of neon and shadow. Jamison, still in a daze, kept one eye on the road and one on the phone. Weaving through the deserted Midtown avenues. 20 seconds. The dashboard glowed with the reflection of the ticking timer. The car begins to whine, before sputtering. She banked hard around a corner, tires smoking against the asphalt, fighting the car's weight, the engine stuttering once more before giving out. The lights flash on the dashboard. The engine smokes. 5 seconds. The phone screen pulsed with a final, desperate surge of data. 3, 2, 1. A chime cut through the roar of the engine. The screen flashed. Upload complete. She let out a breath she had been holding for miles. The vehicle comes to a slow creep, her fingers loosening their death grip on the wheel. She had broadcast the truth into the void. She exits the car, grabbing her belongings, darting off into a nearby alleyway, quickly disappearing. The trap snapped shut, but the footage was already gone, pulsing through the network. The Solidar barricade, the bridge, and all nearby exit points of the park. The blockade grows larger. The soldiers stop every passing vehicle in search of Jamison. Her photo plastered on TV, for the world to see. The dogs inspect every car precisely. The hunt was on.